Hi, I'm Carolyn from O2Bstampin.com. So glad that you could join me today. Wanted to show you how I made this card, happy birthday card, using the Best Birds bundle. So this is the bundle that I used, the Best Birds stamp set and the matching framelits. This set was a lot of fun to play with. I can't wait to get back to it to actually play with it a little bit more. So let me show you how I made this card. Here are the supplies that I need. So we have an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of soft sky cardstock, scored at 4 1/4. And I have my background piece, which is 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of scrap Whisper White, actually 2 scraps of Whisper White that you'll be using to stamp the bird and the branch on, and then a small scrap of soft sky that we will be using to do the flowers. So I'm going to put these things aside for the moment. I'm going to get out my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. If you have StazOn, you can use that as well. And I'm going to get out, actually, let me put that aside for a moment. I'm going to use my Memento Black ink. Pick it up and do it this way for my bird. There we go. And then I'm going to use my branch and ink that up with my Memento Black and stamp. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in So Saffron ink. Actually, I want to leave that open. I'm going to just squeeze this to get a little pool of ink in the lid. I'm going to bring in my aqua painter, and I'm just going to get it very wet, and I'm just going to do a wash. You can also cut your bird out before you do this if you want to. One thing you do want to make sure is that your Memento ink is dry before you do this, is if you don't, it can bleed a little bit. Okay. And then for the rest of the color, I'm actually going to be using a blender pen. And I'm going to start with more color using my crumb cake. I'm going to zoom in a little for you. There we go. Okay, so with the blender pen again, I've got some ink in the lid of my crumb cake ink pad, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color, different places here, around his eye, and his feet. Then I'm going to bring in some chocolate chip. Again, I've got a pool in my lid, and I'm going to highlight around his eye a bit. And then his wing. Now, depending on how dark you want it, would be how much you would mix it with water here. So if you go right into the ink, it's going to be much darker. If you don't want it to be so dark, you can come into the edges here. You might be able to see the difference in that. add some to his feet again. Okay, and then last, I'm going to bring in some early espresso. And just really highlight around the eye, over top of his lid a bit, be along the edges here. Okay. And I'm going to clean my brush off, my blender pen off. I'm actually going to bring in the So Saffron again. And with my blender pen, I'm going to color his beak so that it'll be nice, it's a little brighter. And I'm actually going to do some highlighting here on his belly. So you can play with that, obviously, and just however you like it. I am using the thick Whisper White cardstock so that when I do the wash with the aqua painter, the paper will hold up a little bit better with the thick cardstock rather than just the regular. Okay, then I'm going to bring in my branch, my chocolate chip again. I'm just going to color that. Now, wherever you want it darkest, like you might want it darker on the underside of the branch to make it appear as though there's sunshine across the top of the branch, then you would want to color there first, making it the darkest part, and then the top part you could do a little bit lighter. Okay, clean my blender pen. I'm going to bring in Garden Green. Make a pool of ink in the cover. And color my leaves. Again, wherever you want it darkest, you want to color those areas first. And then wherever you want it lightest, you can go back and color those areas in. Okay. Clean off my blender pen. And then I'm going to bring in my Big Shot magnetic platform and 2 cutting plates. Put these both down here. And actually that feels a little bit warped, this particular well-loved cutting pad. I'm going to bring in, you want to try not to have warped plates when you're using your magnetic platform and you're cutting with framelits. So I'm going to use this one. And this one. Now, if you've never used framelits before, there is an edge on the back of them. Let me see if I can show you that. You see the little edge there that's missing on that side? So you want to put the edge down. That's going to be what's cutting through your paper. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Then I'm going to take my cutting pad. Oh, I see that slipped. that's another thing that'll happen if you have warped pads. Okay, I'm going to break out a brand new cutting plate. Okay, so now I'm going to put it through my Big Shot. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got these cut. I love framelits. They make this work so much easier. Put these aside for the moment. And we'll take these two elements. Okay, and then I'm going to use my Memento ink one more time. And the small bloom from the stamp set. I love this stamp set too. It's got such nice sentiments. Thoughts for you. It's a good day on your wedding day. Happy birthday, happy anniversary, and congratulations. Just about every sentiment that a card maker would need. So I'm going to take my small block. So we're going to need 3. Oops. I really need my mat underneath this, and it's in the other room, so let me just be a little more careful this time. It's good to have a foam mat underneath your paper when you're using photopolymer. Just gives it a nicer stamped image. Alright, now I'm going to take this piece, bring in again my magnetic platform, and line this up. Now obviously I'm going to have to run this through my Big Shot with 3 different times, and be careful lining this up. There is just like one specific way that it fits best, and that's not it. There, I believe that's it. So just play with it till you make sure that you've got it. There it is, so that you've got it correct. Let me zoom in on that so you can see that a little bit better. So it should fit exactly like that. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go run those through my Big Shot and I will return. Okay, so now I have my 3 flowers, my bird, my branch, and now I just need to do the background. So you're going to bring in this white piece of paper, cardstock, a little something on it somehow or another, but I don't think that will show too much. Okay, and then I'm going to use my hardwood background stamp, and then I've also got a piece of window sheet that measures the exact same size as my Whisper White cardstock, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I took my layering circles framelits die, and I used the 2-inch one, which comes out of here, to cut this circle. Let me double check that measurement just to make sure it is the 2-inch. No, I'm sorry, 2.5. 2.5 inch circle. And then I just simply put it on my paper, my window sheet, sorry, and ran it through my Big Shot to create the mask. Okay, so I'm just going to put that down on my paper. I'm going to take my crumb cake ink pad, open it, and I'm just going to ink up a section here at the top, just big enough that I know it'll cover that space there. Okay, then I'm going to put this face down right over that and just press. Okay, and that's what you come up with. I like that process, that technique. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, now before I add my bird, what I want to do is take my gold Wish of Stellar brush and whatever kind of, you can use a blender pen, a regular pen, whatever you happen to have handy. And what you're going to do is you're just going to simply start pounding them together. And you'll be able to see, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this on the video, but I'll zoom in a minute, so hopefully you'll be able to see it. It's going to leave little specks of gold on your card. Okay, I think that's good. Let's see if you can zoom in, or let me just lift this up maybe. Can you see the little specks there? I think you can. Oh yeah, so you see them. Okay, then I'm going to bring in the rest of the elements, and I'm going to use some of the, oh, I forgot the name of these. They're like dimensionals, but they're strips. Foam adhesive strips. I don't know. I'll put it on the video when I edit it. So then I'm just going to cut a small piece off. If you don't have this, you can use the outline edges from your dimensionals. I'm just going to place that on the back of the branch. Oops, let me move that up a little so you can see it better. I really like this product, especially when I'm making shaker cards. This product is a must. Okay, and then I'll just do another little tiny piece on that leaf. All right, then I'm going to actually take regular dimensionals and put them on the back of my bird. All right, so get ready to put it on your card. Just going to press that down a little. Peel the sticky backing off. And the curve to this branch fits nicely right into the curve of that bottom of the circle. Then I'm going to add my bird. Take the sticky back off the dimensionals. Put his feet right on the branch. Center him in the circle here. Then I'm going to use some glue dots to add my flowers. Okay, then my Wink of Stella clear, and I'm going to just add some sparkly shine to the flowers. This is another one of my favorite go-to products. It's simple to add this glittery effect. I don't know if you can see that on the video, but it's really pretty in person. You can see it. Not too much. I'm sorry, because it really does add a lot of sparkle. Okay, then I'm actually going to add a little bit more bling with my sequins that I've pulled out of one of the collections of sequins that I've gotten from time to time. I'm going to use my fine tip glue pen, and I'm just going to put a dot of glue, cover it with a sequin, and then a couple dots down here, and cover that with a sequin. One more. There we go. And you're going to need to let that dry for just a few minutes before you really move it around much. And then if you want to add a sentiment, you can add it in this bottom corner. I'm always needing birthday cards, so that's usually the sentiment I go for. But I'm actually going to leave this one blank so that I can add whatever sentiment I need at a later date. Okay, then I am just going to add some mono adhesive glue to the back of my card. Oops. Bring my card base back in and attach it. And there you have it, done and ready to go. I love this set. Keep in mind it's called the Best Birds, and when you purchase the framelits with it, you get a 10% discount. So I'll have a link to my store on my blog or at the bottom of this video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope if you did that you'll leave me a thumbs up or a positive comment. And if you would like to join me on my blog, that address is www.otobestamping.com. And every Tuesday I put a little tip or technique on there that might be interesting reading for you. So I hope you'll go there and subscribe to my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, well, and my Facebook page to keep in touch a little bit more. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial. Thank you for stopping by.